The question remains, what is the electoral reform bill aimed at exactly? And to help us make sense out of this, I'm being joined by Comrade Duke Alamboye, who is the CEO of Nigerian Green Assembly Initiative. He joins me live in the studio. Thank you so much for being here, Comrade.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, let's begin.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Good evening, and thank you again for being here. First of all, I'm sure you've been seeing the debates going on and on regarding the electoral reform bill, and I want to start by asking, what are the specific risks if a new electoral act is not passed in time?
Well, it's a million-dollar question that has been in the lips of every well-meaning Nigeria. I feel so sad when you said the debate. I would have rather prefer you say belated debate that's going on in the National Assembly. 2 years, going to 3 years after elections, Nigerians were so bittered. If you remember, the 2023 election was bedeviled by lots of complaints ranging from glitches down to electoral malpractices, the snatching of results, ballots, and all sorts of that. So, in as much as there was an amendment by the outgone INEC chairman, the reforms had loopholes, and it really caused serious tension in the country. You know how political parties followed up the issues down to the Supreme Court, bringing evidences here and there. So many people that didn't even contest for elections are in different positions today. So these are the lacunas the last election had. And Nigerians were so hopeful that these amendments would have taken effect even from day one. It would have been a priority discourse for the National Assembly. So without missing word, we are looking at a repeat of what happened in 2023, and it's going to be very, very sad. Up to today,
it does look like you're already lost hope.
Already. Yeah. Because
so you think this reform, this bill will not see the light of the day?
Let me tell you something. I don't know how to explain, but I see election as a recruitment process. So, okay, if you have a company and you want to make recruitment for staff, you have guidelines, you have standards, you have expectations. Am I correct?
Exactly.
So it is on that premise that you recruit people to man different positions in your establishment. So it now forms the characteristics, it now forms the face of the organization. So the quality of people you recruit into your organization will now give you the basis of whatever outcome that company will produce. So elections, the electoral laws and elections are the only ways, the only democratical way democracy are enshrined for us to recruit leaders from the local government level, to the state level, to the national level. Now, if we don't get these laws that are going to help us recruit by way of election these leaders, then what are we doing democracy for? That is, I want you to look at it from that angle. If we don't get these laws, if we don't get these activities that will make us achieve good leadership, what is the essence of the election? What is the essence of the bills? So it's a critical issue. And it's so sad that we are beginning to, this is 1 year. By February 14th or so, it will become 1 full year for elections. So when are they going, when is the, let me give exception to the House of Representatives that have done their due diligence on the passage of those cited lacunas of the electoral laws. The Senate, why is it today that they are beginning to legislate on that bill? Few days, we are talking about less than 2 weeks, less than 14 days. Are we sure that they will be able to debate as they are doing what happened yesterday in the house of the floor of the House, to debate and come to an agreeable terms of amendment, pass it to the President who is not not living in Nigeria again.
Oh,
The
he
president
no longer lives in Nigeria.
The president is out of the country. Are you told when the president will come back? That is the country we have. I don't want to go into that, but let us keep hope that the president is coming back tomorrow. Let us keep hope that the president is coming back next week. If he comes back, at what point will it be translated to the president for consent? After which it will go back to become a law. How effective will it now go back to the INEC, the brand new INEC chairman that Nigerians are expecting wonders from? So you see, it is going to fix the INEC institution. It is going to fix Nigeria's election again. Most importantly, the elections are going to start with the presidential election, which is the eye of all elections, which is the basic eye, which is the fundamental of all elections, which is Nigeria's concentration. How do we get a leader that will lead this forward? In fact, not even how to get a leader, how do we strengthen the electoral process? In a few days or so, I think the FCT is going to witness its local government elections. So, are these things not known to the legislature? So, one would have thought that these new laws would have been used to test run the local government, the council elections that will hold in Abuja. So, I can assure you that they are going to still put this country into tension if they are good, if they are not possibly going to do the wonders that they're going to do within this space of time.
You know, it breaks my heart that you sound this way, even though it's looking like the reality before us, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are also saddened by this outcome, because so for someone who has gone through the electoral reform, you see that the clauses there are very fantastic. Like, I don't even know why for a second it should even witness early delay, but realistically, how much time do you think is left before the electoral reform becomes ineffective
By February,
or rather useful?
By February, the law says that 1 year into elections, you can't have any reforms. Let me take you back to history line. During what's his name, late Mohamed Buhari, so this thing repeated itself, where he came back to say he is sorry, he can't give consent. He also spotted some amendments, areas of amendment, and took it back to the National Assembly for them to rejig. And in a few moments, we said that the new electoral law cannot be passed. Do you remember that period? And that is the same thing I think is about to happen. See, when people become beneficiaries of a system, it is not easy to change that system. But is it not high time?
So you're saying this?
Is it not high time?
Did you
hear the Senate President hammer on the fact that this bill cannot be handled in a rush? So this is a bill we are looking at in less than a month.
But going through that, haven't gone through that view.
Yes.
Do you find anything complicating? Because to me, I don't see anything.
You will find things complicating for bad politicians. You will not find anything complicating for politicians well-meaning Nigerians that want us to elect. See, for goodness sake, I used to say something. People that want to contest for election, what is the basis? Have good leadership qualities, have good antecedents. That's all Nigerians want. Sorry to say, so many people that glamour about some candidates, let me not mention name, is because of public disposition. Let me come back to something that lately happened: the appointment of the former CDS, retired General Christopher Musa, when he was appointed Minister for Defense. You saw the body language of Nigerians, the general acceptability from the general public, natural acceptance.
Exactly.
That was not because he was the best soldier Nigeria had or is having, but because of his antecedents, his leadership role. Since he became Chief of Defense Staff, he has shown some atom of trust, public trust. He has said A, and A has happened. He has used his experience to govern the space. So ordinarily, if it had gone into even public debate, this is how, or let us liken a situation to a public debate or public opinion. This is how it would have won. Nigerians don't need so much magic. An average Nigerian do not even need your money to vote if these laws are stated and clearly stipulated for people to follow. What are the issues? We want a full electronic system of voting. We want people to vote from wherever they are. It reduces what they call boycotts. It reduces apathy, what they call voter apathy. If it will take me almost 500,000 to travel to Port Harcourt just to go and vote and come back. So if the system allows me
to vote from
wherever I am, is a credit,
of course,
to democracy. Secondly, we've seen developed countries, as you vote through your your appliances, phone, whatever you can download the applications. Once you vote, there's a central collection. People don't need to go to polling unit, go to what they call returning center, start counting votes. We have come to that age that immediately you vote, it counts. Let me give you a very synergized example. In the House of the Senate, they vote. Does anybody go to count vote there? It's electronics. So as you're voting, you are saying these things can be applicable. Whatever it will take Nigeria to restore the electoral process is the first step to good leadership in our country. People blamor. People talk a lot. We have everything. Nigeria is blessed. Resources, this, that, this. That the only problem is leadership. Even the elites, surprisingly, will tell you that, oh, the problem of this country is bad leadership. Who is fixing it? Who wants to fix it? When the ball gets stuck on their table, it becomes very difficult. I am so disappointed as a human being, as a leader in my small sector, that the electoral law, the electoral bill has been toyed with till this moment that we are seeing the National Assembly seated and deliberating on it, just close to February, when the windows will close, an electoral process. In fact, do you know, as I speak with you, in my state today, they've even started inaugurating political structures for the presidential election. Yet, the laws that will guide those elections are still under debate. What is going to be the stand, the moral stand of the new INEC chairman that we all want to show his credibility, his antecedents, his good record that he has brought to this position? How will these laws guide him through? So it's going to be a serious issue. Like you're already saying, I don't know what also prompted you to say that this magic will happen within 2 weeks, that the National Assembly, the Senate precisely, will finish deliberating on this, correct whatever corrections they want to make from the House of Rep, translate it to the presidency
for assent.
For before it gives assent. Don't think that you just go and then it just give assent. You also go through it and also say this section, like Buhari did. These areas I think we should re-amend and all of that. If even that does not even happen and then everything is thoroughly done properly and it goes back to the assembly, are we sure that 2 to 3 weeks can take this? So this is the million-dollar question we are asking. But to me, I can tell you for free that I'm so disappointed that this bill lingered to the electoral process. And I think that, and I'm beginning to say convincingly that they are taking us back to 2023.
Well, everyone is as disappointed as you are, but who knows, just maybe the Nigerian Senate might this time want to prove Nigerians wrong. But let's move forward. The House of Representatives has gone ahead to, pass this bill, but the Senate is yet to do so. Now, in your own view, do you think that, this is a case of, this is going through legislative procedure, or is it just a way of political reluctance to tighten the rules of the game?
So, that's a very sensitive question. So I'm going to speak on my own opinion, what I think, let us look at what has happened in the Senate. What would have delayed this electoral bill from being discussed? Have the Senate, have they been so busy? If we have such an important cause for a better Nigeria, if we have such better cause that they or all of us know that by February 2027 election must hold, why has it not been a priority on the list, on the workable list of the Senate? So these are the questions that runs through my mind. And if these answers are in the negative, I also want to believe that they want the people that want to come back as senators, or the people that want to contest election and allow fraud and manipulations to still exist in the system, are the people that have sat on this, and now they are going to use a marathon race they know that will not come to fruition. Else, why is this bill being discussed now? I want to give a rise and a thumbs up to the civil society people that went to the
National Assembly
to raise these issues, and this is why we must be talking on these issues until it is done. The president is everything stops on his buck, but people begin to make it look like he is the only one involved. But we can see what is going on now, and the president presently is fixing himself, trying to see how he can genuinely win the election, because everybody's eyebrows is up looking at transparency in 2027 election. Generally, people are looking up to pure transparency. Some persons, without me mentioning them, had even approached me to say they may not run if the electoral laws are not changed. Those lacunas that are cited in the electoral laws are not changed. How can we spend Jaga, right? The outgone Mahmood had the highest amount of money voted for INEC to do election. He promised Nigerians heaven and earth for the 2023 elections. Nigerians were so hopeful. Youths came out en masse. Women came out en masse and was prepared. They were well prepared to make sure that we get democracy right. What happened? Glitches. Till today, he has not even been held accountable. All we hear is glitches. All we hear is, even in some states, they went back to manual voting system. So, is that what we want to experience again in 2027? Let me tell you the truth. Some people did not even contest election. They're in the Senate. They are in corridors of power. Their name wasn't with INEC, but through the court. So these things they are very fundamental issues, very fundamental lacunas that have been cited in the laws, and they must make frantic effort to make sure that it is amended. So I think from day one that the Senate was constituted, the 10th Assembly was constituted, is a thing that is supposed to take along their activities to make sure that they solve it before the election. We don't have 4 years, we only have 3 years, because the law says that 1 year to the election, everything about the laws are closed. Windows for the laws are closed. So it means that we begin to talk about affecting the laws into the processes. How do we conduct primaries? How do we get candidates? What are the do and the don'ts on how candidates should like? And let me tell you something, we're going to face more critical problem. Now that in some states, the parties are also interwoven. As it is today, Nigeria is only having about 3 or 4 political parties presently.
Is it
presently, as it is today, the presidential election might be 2 parties alone. Maybe APC
and
ADC. And that is if ADC do not crack their walls before, if they sail through their primaries. So these laws that will help the system is what we're debating on.
Interesting. Well, many of these proposed amendments reflect long-standing demands by Nigerians, and Nigerians also see this as a way of trying to correct wrongs over the years. But now, seeing all of this, the requirements, like you rightly said, it says 1 year before anything that has to do with election itself, and but if this implementation doesn't scale through, what is the fate of Nigerian voters?
Which you first of all ask the fate of INEC. So because if these things are not done, well, while Mahmoud was going out, his parting words for Nigerians included the reforms, and he hammered on it seriously. So he is the first player. He is the man that drove the car, the 2023 electoral car, and he is saying that, look, as I'm leaving this vehicle, you need to fix the tires, you need to fix the steerings, you need to do reforms, so that my predecessor will not, or my successor rather, will not find it difficult to drive. So we have a new pilot, and this new pilot is watching keenly. So the first question is, how is he going to manage and come up as against his reputation? How is he going to manage in a case that they are not able to, which I think will happen? Time constraint will sabotage the passage of this law, and is going to be held responsible to operate the existing law and do, perhaps in quote, magic to conduct a transparent election, where the conscience of an average politician today is biased. Election have not started. You're seeing how our gladiators, our electoral gladiators are moving. You can see the tension in the country from state to state. You can see the tension in the political arenas, the political parties, the stakeholders. You can see the imbalance. So how do you know that INEC is even supposed to stipulate how much a political party will spend to run an election? INEC is supposed to stipulate the finance a candidate, an individual candidate, will spend in election. So these are areas of lacuna that the law is talking about. If these things are not reconciled, we'll go back to 2023, where maybe this time around we have another Amefele that will stifle the economy financially. Politicians will come up with strategy, because the lacunas of the electoral laws that was used for 2023, they are glaring, and people will definitely make sense. So back to your question, the first person that is going to suffer the brunt of what is happening now is the INEC, is the institution.
Okay.
Because I don't know how to put it. It's like somebody remarrying a married woman. Somebody marrying the woman you're going to marry. You are aware she is married, but in this case, you must marry her. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Exactly. So that is where the institution will find itself. And how are they going to run these elections in that premises? Now, I agree with you again. As Nigerians, voter apathy will increase, because it will be a defeatist election. Anybody can come and contest anything, go to the. It will be a very relied election on the courts. So if the court comes out to say that party A rather against party 2 is for party B, that is all, because there is lacuna in the. INEC cannot also be a defendant in its case. So INEC that ran the election, that we all know that he or she has run, INEC has run that election in a bad premise, will also go to the court and defend itself. So these are the things Nigerians saw from that bill, from that electoral law, and feel that these things should be amended. We've expended 3 years going to the 3rd year, and it's sad that these things are not happening. So we begin to wonder, how can we sustain democracy as against transparency, mostly in our elections?
Now, in practical terms, what limitation? Because you've mentioned severally on how this is going to affect INEC, and of course how INEC is going to suffer from it. Now, let's talk about the limitations and the absence of a new electoral law. Where does it place?
Stunt economy. You don't need to finish. The same thing we're experiencing. People that do not deserve to be in governance.
Will find their
Will
way
find
there.
themselves in governance. And the first point is to satisfy their personal.
But then one would wonder again.
So we'll begin to suffer.
The public, the public has a
Mm.
trust issue with the INEC. But then looking at it at INEC, we know that INEC is an independent body.
Yes.
So can't for once even the INEC itself prove Nigerians wrong?
How? How? INEC conduct election based on the laws before them. INEC does not. INEC is not the constitution of the country. INEC have their laws.
At least when we talk about transparency
INEC have their
and
laws.
accountability.
Okay, INEC have their laws. And then what if you go to contest election, INEC has done all its due diligence, prepared itself for, let me say, state A.
Mm.
And then you get to the state. And then the gladiators in the states have a manipulative tendency. And they manipulate IRFs, they manipulate INEC, beavers, and all of that. What position will INEC have? These are the questions. Because so INEC cannot defend those activities in that state because they are just also partisan. INEC would rather pretend to have been a good party in that elections. It will cost INEC nothing to proceed and say this is what we did than to say we cancelled. So, because if you cancel an election, you're spending more to redo the election. So it is now opened. Where they say don't snatch ballot back, they are snatching ballot boxes. Where they say transmit electoral officers to transmit this thing, and then a sector of the election, electionary grounds are bribed or influenced, and they didn't transmit. They say, oh, we didn't transmit because there was glitches.
There were glitches. Yeah.
There were glitches.
We even had that in the last
So
election.
what do you expect INEC to do? INEC will rather defend what their personnel are presenting. But if these laws are stipulated and that new technology must be brought in, the beavers must be upgraded to where you don't need to vote and say you're uploading. As you're voting, Mercy, there's a control room that takes the signal. So we all see as River State election is going, for instance, that's my state, everybody is seeing that, oh, 10 people have voted in River State. Oh, 100 people have voted in River State. Everybody is seeing it. The way you post something on your platform, and everybody that is connected to you, as they are commenting, you don't need to go and ask Facebook how many people have commented. You see it live. So these are enablers to our electoral system that we feel that should be passed for that credibility. So our elections should not. There's another one that says, there's another one that trying to correct that says, when you win election and it is under litigation, you are not sworn in. Ah, my dear, they shouldn't joke with these amendments. You shouldn't be sworn in. When you are sworn in already, you have the state resources to play with. So I'm taking you back to the, I'm taking you back to the effects that you were asking. Mm. The man stays in the office and fight his opponents. So he has all the paraphernalias of powers with him
to fight the other person.
And it takes the will of God, as Nigerians we always say God, for him to defeat you. Or if in case that your election have killed, like according to Obasanjo, then you may lose it. If not, you are there.
Now, with this current development, how would you describe the would I say Nigerian Senate or this 10th Assembly precisely over what over democracy, and when it comes to the yearnings and plights of Nigerians? Do you think they've been fair enough or they've listened over time?
Well, to be very frank, I think it varies from occasions. One thing I cherish about this tenure or this present democracy we have, the 10th Assembly and all of that, that the responsiveness to public opinions. I want to give them kudos in that angle because
now public demand, because this is the public making the demand.
So they've been very, very responsive to what is happening, and I've always compared it to the law, applied it to the law. So that's why you're seeing they are physical involvement in the day-to-day running of the country. So, so many amendments have been made, and the prompt nature at which they do it. So that is why, confidently, people felt that, okay, with the way this 10th Assembly is going, it is possible that we'll have the reforms in the electoral system. So it depends on.
But many Nigerians have also doubted this same 10th Assembly. Even some has even gone as far as calling it a rubber stamp.
So the trustworthiness of the assembly is not until the assembly is fighting the other arms of government, but the inputs they make to assist the government of the day succeed. I don't want to see. I don't want to credit an assembly to the fact that they are opposing the executive or the other arm of government. They will not say they are credible. See, there are always marked out agenda for every government, and the assembly critically looks at how to affect the law to suit that agenda for national development. That is their first duty. So if the presidency wants to fight, for instance, security, and then the National Assembly is passing more financial vote to the presidency, they are aiding the president to succeed on its agenda. Do you understand? So it's not until there's a fight or there's a no. So they work, what they call it in economics, separation of power, but checks and balances. So there are checks and balances within the line. That is what democracy is trying. In as much as they are independent, they have their own freedom of operations. Don't forget that there are also checks and balances. They are also fused in a way so that you have a cohesion. The most important thing is the policy drive of the government. The most important thing is the developmental drive of the government. So if you look at it in that way, the National Assembly supported subsidy removal because that is the intention of the government, and they would have rescaled what importance, what role, what national developmental role or growth will this activity bring to the nation. What are the effects, long, short-term, and medium-term effects? So they agreed to the subsidy removal and effected it as a law. They must not fight it because the information at the disposal of at their level is not the information we have at our level. We act and respond to immediate. We react to the immediate situations of the law, immediate pains of the law, or effects of a given law. But they check at the developmental aspect of it, without undermining the fact that what usage, what is the mindset. Somebody was telling me that our laws are not really the problem. The problem are the carriers of the law. And if INEC believes that there's a lacuna in the law that guides them, like you also asked, what is the propensity of doing it right? I know that yes, this election that I want to do, they are going to be lacunas that the politicians may rely on or counter on. So how am I structuring my organization to block those lacunas? So this should be the concern of however, the courts are there to interpret. The politicians own the court, and whichever way you want to look at it is also go back to their whims and caprices. Well,
let's be optimistic.
So to me, I feel that the assembly, the 10th Assembly, had played fairly in it carrying out its obligations. Because see, Nigeria went back 10 years. Our operational system, our operational level, the way things are done, went back 10 level. And I think that largely we had a president that is having the will, the political will, and the ability to correct things. So they are human. These people we are talking about in the terms of affair, they are human beings that could also do mistakes and reframe. So is projecting Nigeria to greater heights, but painfully it is happening. We are going, every reforms this government is doing painfully, And like they said, the people that read English said there's one light at the fire.
At the end of the tunnel.
So we are getting close to the tunnel. 2027 election will determine if Nigerians are confident.
Another question is how close. But then let's if
Nigerians are confident to say that these reforms is what we can bear into
another 4
years. You understand? So that is the $1 million question.
Exactly.
So you see there are people at the other side of the divide saying that no, this is so hard and so difficult for the country. But again, frankly speaking, they are all gladiators that almost all of them had run themselves around governance. So I asked this question: when they were there, what did they do? They regroup like old wines in new bottles to talk about change. So, but ironically, if you look at all the classes, the players, they've all played at national level. So, must somebody have a second chance? So many reforms that the Tinubu administration is carrying out, we heard those things from the lips of politicians. If I come into power, this is what I'm going to do. Now he is doing it. Weren't they also expecting that if they did it, there will be a side effect? You don't pull out a building to build a new one and feel comfortable. You must have some level of discomfort. But again, how will Nigerians feel this discomfort into the next 4 years is what we're talking about.
All right, like I said, let's keep hope alive. Let's be optimistic, and maybe this time around, the Nigerian Senate might want to shock Nigerians like they always say, you shock me. But comrade, if this amendment fails, can Nigerians still have confidence in INEC's ability to conduct credible elections, especially given the declining public trust in the system?
Vast majority of Nigerians will lose confidence. See, this election that we saw, people that didn't run for primaries emerged as candidates. This is an election 2023. We saw people that didn't run for the general election, our senators, our governors. This election where glaringly in a state people were sure that Party A won, Party B was announced based on glitches, whatever name
Beaver
they called it. This is an election we saw in some states heavy destruction of lives and properties. So even at that, how many million did we have in the election? The general election, the presidential election, 12 million, 10 million, and 8 million. If you calculate 10, 8, and 10, about 30-something million. We are talking about a population that have almost 100 million voters. So you can see the apathy level. That is when the emperor announced that we have a green light in the electoral process. You can translate. Don't worry, go and vote. If you vote, your votes will be counted. And we had that level of issues. After 3 years, we are beginning to feel that we're coming back to that. Is it Bruha? I want to go English. We're coming back to that level, so it will be disheartening. You will see more of apathy. Now, the political stature or nature is also different from what we had in 2023. 2023 was more competitive. 2027, almost all the political parties, almost all the ruling governors, heads of leaders, I want to borrow the word of my governor, 001 of political parties are leaving their original party
that gave them a platform.
That gave them a platform into the ruling party. Sometimes I ask myself why, and they've attributed it to internal rancors in their political party where they are supposed to manage. A man that married a wife is not saying that he's marrying a second wife or is leaving that wife because she does not know how to cook. Not teaching her,
instead of teaching her
how to cook or prepare her how to cook, is leaving that home, going to another home, supposedly a home that he will find a woman that knows how to cook, but this time around does not enter house. So what happens again? Next year is going to leave that woman again. This is what is happening in the political circle. So you are seeing that there is an increase of 001 that assumedly controls state elections going into the APC. Now, the PDP, is it drowning or drowned? ADC, we are looking at what they can come up with. Only Peter Obi and Amechi and what is them? Our former Vice President Atiku had boldly translated fully into that party. Other persons are still
standing with
one leg here and there. These persons that have crossed over there, have we seen vast majority of their followership also transcended into the ADC? Have you begun to see that cluster of people gathering in any of these states to say that, look, we are ADC? None. And we are just 9, 10 months, 11 months to the presidential election. So the dynamics of 2027 election is going to differ far from 2023. So politicians are studying the business. And if you allow them to play on the former laws, the business is as good as won. So what about the new people that have faith in politics, that are coming into politics? What about the new persons that believe in governance, that are coming into governance? What about the new people that want to attempt running for election? What is their fate in the 2027 election?
Thank you so much, Comrade. But before we go, at this point and with the current developments we are seeing today, can you confidently tell a Nigerian or a common Nigerian that, go and vote, your vote counts? Can you still?
I wonder why you asked me that kind of
question. Because Nigerians have over time believed that your vote don't even count. But now this is a development that was supposed to address some issues that would have said hopefully this time around my vote counts, but we don't even see it. Doesn't even look like it will see the light of the day. So if this whole thing, if this bill doesn't skate, if it doesn't see the light of the day, can you confidently tell a Nigerian that your vote counts, go and vote?
Yes, I will want to do that because I believe that our democracy should get stronger.
All right.
I want to believe that we can overwhelm the system. Overwhelming the system does not mean that when you see that this person is the right candidate. Don't forget that Nigerians don't rely on party again. So that's why I feel that you may run to any political parties if your antecedents are not right enough to do. But it is only when we also go and overwhelm the system to say, look, we want to vote for in a particular unit is A, and we are all there, we voted. We all make sure that whether manually we have a role to play as Nigerians, whether manually, whether you are using beavers, whatever thing that INEC has provided, stay there and defend what we've done. If we leave it to say, let us stay at home and lose confidence in the system, we will correct the system. But who is going to be the advocate of people are going to court and they are winning is because the system is not overwhelmed by voters. If we have, for instance, 100 million Nigerians that are registered to vote, and 800 million goes to do accreditation, you will see that it will change the dynamics of the election.
Well, I wish we can continue.
It will rebuild confidence.
Conversation.
We should not stay aback and begin to talk about these laws. We should. That is why I felt very bad that how it works, because we can stay in the confines of our homes and vote.
Thank you so much, Comrade Kalamboye, who is the CEO of Green Assembly Initiative. He's been speaking with us concerning the Electoral Reform Bill before the National Assembly. Thank you so much for your analysis.
Thank you very much.
It's indeed a pleasure having you. And this is where we'll come to the end of the program. Don't forget that the strength of our democracy depends on largely the credibility of our electoral system. As citizens, it is our responsibility to stay informed, engage constructively, and demand transparency from our leaders. And then to the National Assembly, the Nigerian Senate, precisely. This is one time that Nigerians would ever come out to say, this is one thing we are seeking for. Nigerians are not asking you for money. Nigerians are not asking you for rice this time around. Nigerians are not even asking for food. This is the only thing that the Nigerian people has come out to say, this is what we want. And for once, if you can adhere to the plight of these Nigerians who have also voted you in those positions to serve them. Do have yourself a great evening. I'll see you next week again. Do stay safe, and don't forget that security is everybody's business. When you see something, please do say something. Have yourself a beautiful weekend. I am Chinaza Asegu. God bless Nigeria.